Ah, that must be Aunt Augusta. Only relatives or creditors ever aim in that Wagnerian manner. Now, if I can get her out of the way for 10 minutes so you can have an opportunity for proposing to Gwendolen, may I dine with you tonight at Willis's?
I suppose so, if you want to.
Yes, but you must be serious about it. I hate people who are not serious about meals. It is so shallow of them.
Lady Bracknell and Miss Fairfax.
Oh, good afternoon, dear Alton. I hope you are behaving quite well.
I'm feeling very well, Aunt Augusta.
That's not quite the same thing. In fact, the two things rarely go together.
Dear me, you are smart.
I'm always smart. Am I not, Mr. Worthing?
You're quite perfect, Miss Fairfax.
Oh, I hope I'm not that. It would leave no room for developments, and I intend to develop in many directions.
I'm sorry if we are a little late, Alton, but I was obliged to call upon dear Lady Harbury. I haven't been there since her poor husband's death. I've never seen a woman look quite so altered. She looks quite 20 years younger. And now I'll have a gin and tonic and one of those nice cucumber sandwiches you promised me.
Certainly, Aunt Augusta.
Won't you come and sit here, Gwendolen?
Thanks, Mamma. I'm quite comfortable where I am.
Good heavens! Lane! Why are there no cucumber sandwiches? I ordered them specially.
There were no cucumbers at the market this morning, sir. I went down twice.
No cucumbers?
Not even for ready money.
That will do, Lane. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I am greatly distressed, Aunt Augusta, about there being no cucumbers. Not even for ready money.
It really makes no matter. I had some crumpets with Lady Harbury, who seems to me to be living entirely for pleasure now.
I hear her hair has turned quite gold from grief.
Well, it certainly has changed colour from what cause. I cannot say. I've quite a treat for you tonight, Alton. I'm going to send you down with Mary Farquhar. She's such a nice woman, and so attentive to her husband. It's delightful to watch them.
I'm afraid, Aunt Augusta, I shall have to give up the pleasure of dining with you tonight after all.
I certainly hope not, Algernon. It'll put my table quite out. Your uncle would have to dine upstairs. Fortunately, he is accustomed to that.
It is a great unfortunality, and it is a great disappointment to myself, I must say, but the fact is, I've just had a call to say my poor friend Bunbury is very ill again. They seem to think I should be with him.
It is very strange. This Mr. Bunbury seems to suffer from curiously bad health.
Yes, Bunbury is a dreadful invalid.
Well, it seems to me, Algernon, that it's high time that this Mr. Bunbury made up his mind whether to live or to die. This shilly-shally of the question is quite absurd. Nor do I in any way approve of this modern sympathy with invalids. I consider it morbid. Illness, in any form, is hardly a thing to be encouraged in others. Health is the primary duty of life. I'm forever telling this to your poor uncle, but he doesn't seem to take much notice, as far as any improvement in his ailment goes.
Bunbury, Aunt Augusta, if he is conscious, and I think I can promise you he'll be alright for Saturday. Of course, I was going to do the music for you on Saturday, and that will be a great difficulty because music, if one plays good music, people don't listen, and if one plays bad music, people don't talk. But I will run over the programme I've drawn up for you if you'll kindly come into the next room for a moment.
That's very kind of you, Algernon. Gwendolen, you will accompany with me?
Certainly, Mamma.
Charming day it has been, Miss Fairfax.
They don't talk to me about the weather, Mr. Worthing. Whenever people talk to me about the weather, I always feel quite certain they mean something else. And that makes me so nervous.
I do mean something
I
else.
thought so. In fact, I'm never wrong.
And I would like to take advantage of Lady Bracknell's temporary absence.
I would certainly advise you to do so. Mamma has a way of coming back suddenly into a room I have often had to speak to her about.
Miss Fairfax, ever since I met you, I have admired you more than any girl I have ever met since I met you.
I'm quite well aware of the fact. I often wish that, in public at any rate, you'd been more demonstrative. For me, you've always had an irresistible fascination. Even before I met you, I was far from indifferent to you. We live, Mr. Worthing, as I hope you know, in an age of ideals. The fact is constantly mentioned in the more expensive monthly magazines, and has reached the provincial pulpits, I'm told. It has always been my ideal to love someone of the name of Earnest. There is something in that name which inspires absolute confidence. The moment Algernon first mentioned to me that he had a friend called Earnest, I knew I was destined to love you.
You really love me, Gwendolyn.
Passionately.
Darling, you don't know how happy you've made me.
My own Earnest.
But do you really mean to say you couldn't love me if my name wasn't Ernest?
But your name is Earnest.
Oh, I know it is, but supposing it wasn't, do you really mean to say you couldn't love me then?
That is clearly a metaphysical speculation. And like most metaphysical speculations, bears very little reference to the actual facts of real life as we know them.
To speak quite candidly, Gwendolyn, I don't care much for the name of Ernest. I don't think it suits me at all.
It suits you perfectly. It is a divine name. It has a music all of its own. It produces vibrations.
Gwendolyn, I think there are many more nice names. Jack, for instance, a charming name.
Jack! No, there's very little music in the name of Jack, if any at all, indeed. It does not thrill. It has absolutely no vibrations. Besides, Jack is a notorious domesticity for John, and I pity any woman who is married to a man named John. She'll probably never be allowed to know the entrancing pleasure of a single moment's solitude. The only really safe name is Earnest.
Gwendolyn, I must get christened. We must get married at once. There is no time to be lost.
Married, Mr. Worthing?
Well, certainly. You know I love you, Miss Fairfax, and you led me to believe that you were not absolutely indifferent to me.
I adore you, but you haven't even proposed to me yet. Nothing at all has been said about marriage. The subject has not even been touched on.
Well, do you mind if I propose to you now?
I think it would be an admirable opportunity. And to spare you any possible disappointment, Mr. Worthing, I think it only fair to tell you quite frankly beforehand that I'm fully determined to accept you.
Gwendolyn!
My darling, yes, Mr. Worthing. What have you got to say to me?
You know what I've got to say to you.
Yes, but you don't say it.
Gwendolyn, will you marry me?
Of course I will, darling. Oh, how long you've been about it? I'm afraid you've had very little experience in how to propose.
My own one. I've never loved anyone in the world but you.
Yes, I know, but men often propose for practice. I know my brother Gerald does. And my girlfriends tell me so. What wonderfully green eyes you have, Ernest. They're quite green. Oh, I hope you'll always look at me just like that. Especially when there are other people present.
Mr. Worthing, rise, sir, from your self-confident posture. It is most indecorous.
I must beg you to retire. This is no place for you. Besides, Mr. Worthing has not quite finished yet.
Finished what, may I ask?
I am engaged to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Pardon me, you are not engaged to anyone. When you do become engaged to someone, I, or your father, should his health permit it, will inform you of the fact. An engagement should come upon a young lady as a surprise, pleasant or unpleasant as the case may be. It is hardly a thing that can be arranged for herself. Mr. Worthing, I'll have a few questions to put to you. Gwendolyn, the car.
But Mamma!
The car, Gwendolyn!